Hi, Grace. I can see you.
Yeah, good evening,
Hello, Mr.
madam.
Ayodeji. How are you? Good evening.
Fine, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for joining us. I think we have a good view this way. Hey, my charm. OTH. Good to see you online. Yes, thank you, everybody. Chukura, thank you. Celestina, good
Good
to see
evening,
you.
Daniel.
Yeah, welcome, everyone. We're going to try and make the best use of the 60 minutes. So we won't waste too much time. It's a privilege to finally be hosting Mr. Ayodeji. I've had to collaborate with him, on so many things, trying to push forward the financial literacy campaign. And it's such an honor to be hosting him today. While we wait for more people to join us, some people are already members of the Finance Coach BK community. Others are not, but this is a platform set up to encourage everybody to get financially educated. There's just one goal that I have with this platform, and that is to ensure that as many people as possible can have financial fitness. I mean, being able to manage well so that you can meet your current and your future needs and ultimately arrive at the financial freedom that we are all pursuing. Financial freedom is when you have enough money to meet your needs and your wants, or your expenses, your living expenses, without having to depend on anyone or do anything actively. Like I said, it's a privilege to have Mr. Ayodeji with us today. And there's only one objective of today's session. Mr. Ayodeji, are you okay? I hope you're not frozen. Is your internet okay? Can you hear me?
No, it's fine. My internet is okay. I can hear you
Fine.
clearly.
Okay, so you can hear me. Okay, yeah.
Can you hear me?
So
Yes.
yes, I can hear you. So there's one objective of today's session, and which is to encourage members of the Finance Code BK community to invest better and to take the right investment decisions. And for those who are still skeptical about should they be investing or shouldn't they be investing, to really understand that in order to build wealth and to grow, to grow their money and build wealth, that you need to invest, and you need to invest right. There are so many reasons why some people are holding back from investing. Some think that they don't have enough to invest. Some even have enough to invest, but they are skeptical because of inflation and so many other parameters, in the economy, the devaluation and all of that. And some have had their fingers burnt, and so they're holding back and saying, why should I bother again about investment? So we're going to be asking Mr. Ayodeji some questions, and I'm hoping to learn, because I'm not an investment professional. So I'm hoping to learn more from him today, as well as members of the audience. So I'm just going to introduce him quickly. We posted his profile while we were advertising this program today. But just in case there's anyone on the program who did not have a chance to read the profile that I posted. Now, I'm not going to be able to read everything, because Mr. Ayodeji's profile can even take us the whole 60 minutes that Instagram has given us for this program. So I'm just going to give you the key ones so that you have the confidence in whatever we're talking, whatever he puts on the table today, so that you'll be confident that you're hearing the right thing. Like I said, it's just 60 minutes we have, but I want to make sure that this session pushes everyone to either invest more, invest better, or even start investing. So you can, if some of your questions are not answered this evening, please do not hesitate. Just send me a DM or send Mr. Ayodeji a DM, and we will deal with those questions. I want to be able to get as many testimonies as I can after this session. That, oh, wow, after that session, I started doing things better, and I took the courage and I started investing. In order to gain more from Mr. Ayodeji's experience, he has a YouTube channel. The channel is also the name of his Instagram page. YouTube channel is Get Finance and Investment Tips, and he does a weekly broadcast. I have personally gained from those weekly broadcasts because I'm not an economist, and I do listen to his analysis, and it helps me in taking my money and financial decisions. Mr. Ayodeji is currently the Managing Director and Chief Business Officer of Optimus, and Optimus is a digital platform powered by AfriInvest, West Africa Limited. He has 16 years of experience in business and investment strategy and economic and investment research. Before his recent, I call it rejoining of AfriInvest, because he's been in AfriInvest before, he worked as the head of retail investment at Chapel Hill Durham, as well as the senior economist head research and strategy at Greenwich Merchant Bank. I'm going to jump quickly. He was the managing director of AfriInvest Limited, a leading licensed broker, dealer, and subsidiary of AfriInvest West Africa for about 4 years. Remember, I said his recent rejoining because he's gone back to them now. And prior to that, his appointment as MD, he had led the investment research team and worked in the investment banking division. So you see, we're very privileged to have him join us FOC, which is free of charge. He has so many certifications. He's a fellow of the Association of Chartered Accountants of UK. He's an associate of the Chartered Institute of Securities and Investments in UK. And of course, he has his first degree in economics. He has an MSc in economics, and he also has a BSc in applied accounting from Oxford Brookes University, UK. Mr. Ayodeji, I'm going to stop there so that my people will not be too intimidated. Welcome so much. And honestly, I am very grateful because I know your schedule is tight. So thank you for sparing the 60 minutes. And thank you to your family. We're having this conversation. So I said at the beginning that in order for people to grow their wealth, they need to have investments, and they need to grow the investments. I wanted to help my audience this evening and by explaining that to us, if investing is for everybody, is investing for everyone? Can everyone go into investments, or some people may be skeptical, thinking they have to get to a particular level of wealth before they start investing? Can you hear me?
Okay, thanks. And
thank you
I
very
would
much.
like to, yes, I can hear you clearly.
Yes.
So thanks, like I fondly call her Pastor B. Thanks for this opportunity to be here. Your passion to ensure that people learn financial investment is very commendable. Yeah, and straight to your
Thank you
question.
So much.
Investment is for everyone. And one thing that we should note about investment is it's one of the short journey to financial freedom. And when we talk about investment, it's about adding value to your savings. You can save without investing, but most times, if you don't take that extra step of investing your savings, then you may be losing value. Like peculiar country where we are, inflation at 16.82%. And if you just have your savings in your bank account, or you have your dollars in your DOM account without adding value to it, over time, that savings will be losing the power, the ability of what it can buy because of price increase. So it is important that we need to note that we have to invest our savings. And investment does not have any barrier. There's always someone. Even for the government, about 3 years ago, came up with FGN savings bond when they discovered that bonds are not accessible for retail investors. The minimum for that, for instance, is 5,000 naira. And every month, government issue that instrument, which is safe. Yes, we may be in a crisis situation in Nigeria, but we know we can't get to that extent that there would be scarcity of the naira. There can be scarcity of dollars, but there can't be scarcity of naira because the CBN and Nigeria has full control of it. Because I also hear most time people are concerned that putting my money in this country, buying government bonds, I hope they will not default one day. But I believe we can't get there because we may worry about, they will print money and they will worry about inflation later, but they will not default. So we can say the risk is minimized. So there are, even for mutual funds, yeah, you see some as low as $100, as 1,000 naira that you can invest. So I would say, to wrap up your question, that investment is for everyone. It is important that you add value to your savings, and it is important that you have good understanding of the different investment options available to you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ayodeji. I hear you saying that we should not put our money under the pillow. We should not leave it in savings accounts where it's yielding the barest or minimum interest rate because of the prevailing inflation. And I hear you also saying that there are minimum entrance level of 5,000 naira for the federal government of Nigerian bonds. In other words, you don't have to be a millionaire to start investing. Thank you very
Yes,
much.
correct.
Yeah, thank you very much. I know there'll be some people around the call who haven't started this investment journey, and some because they're scared, and some because they just don't have the financial education to have the understanding of what you just try to explain. I know you did put on the table two of the possible opportunities that new investors can go into in Nigeria, and those mainly money market instruments that you mentioned. If there are people who are very, very scared at this time because of the inflation and because of the currency devaluation and because of the uncertainty that we continue to see in governance, what advice would you have for them in terms of to encourage them further, in addition to what you earlier on said?
Thank you very much. And the first thing I would like to state is that hello? Hello? Can you hear me? Okay. Okay.
You're a bit frozen,
yeah. So I think the first thing that I think we need to note is that not taking action is a major risk on its own. And even if you are bothered about the situation, you need to do something about it. So if you decide that you just want to be putting your money under your pillow, you will be worse off at the end of the day. So you need to take action. Secondly, you now need to understand what are the available options to you. You need to note what your risk appetite is. There are some that cannot stand any decline in the value of their investment. So once you know that, what you want is, even if I give you this 1 million, even if you don't add value to it, when I'm ready to collect my money, I want my 1 million. Then you look for investments that gives you capital preservation. I mentioned earlier FGN savings bond because its government is fixed. So anytime you hear fixed income investment, fixed would mean that you know the interest you'll be getting, you know the maturity date, and you know how much you'll be receiving from that income. So it's determined from when you want to invest. So you look out for investments that you know what you will be getting, and there's no story back and forth that is fixed. But it's also good that we note that in investments, the higher the risk, the higher the return. So if you are after capital preservation, most of the investments you'll be seeing will be investments that do not have very
returns.
Attractive interest rates. Treasury bills, for instance, which is also a debt instrument that is issued by the government through the CBN. The interest rate for one, but we know that you can buy treasury bills and go and sleep, because after 1 year, government would will pay you back. But when you also feel discouraged that because of 4%, if I put my 1 million, get 40,000, it's a waste of time. But you look at the opportunity cost. So if inflation of 16.8% hits your 1 million, let's say in 1 year, in terms of the value, you lose about 164,000 naira. But if you're able to reduce that impact by 50,000 naira, it means that you have reduced, even if you can't beat inflation, like I always say, reduce the impact. Also, you have commercial that are issued by corporates. Commercial paper is also a debt instrument that it means you are lending money to corporations, companies that have good rating. And when you are investing in commercial paper, it's important that you look at their rating. It's important that you understand, you know the company. Don't just invest in any commercial paper. Yes, the risk is minimized, but it's good to invest in companies that you know and you understand, that you know very well. So interest rate has averaged around 8 to about 13%, for instance, for less than a year commercial paper. That would also reduce that impact. It may not cover it totally. We may also want to talk about, if we talk about bonds, for those that have the ability to buy, the minimum ranges between 20 million and 50 million. The interest rate can be as high as 12, 13%. That's another form of investment. Then, because we know our exposure, the major challenges we are facing around the dollars, it's also good to have dollar investments. It's also a way to protect your investment. And there are different avenues to invest in dollars. Beyond just having the money in your DOM account, you can invest in dollar mutual funds. And I would like to state that people should recognize that investment in mutual funds are not guaranteed. What you see are target returns. It's not guaranteed, it fluctuates. So if an asset manager approach you and you see their return and they tell you it's 6%, that 6% may not be exactly the 6% you will get at the end. But not to bother with that. You are trying to, rather than have earning zero, so you are coming from zero. So even if it's 4% you earn at the end of the day, you have still added something to that investment. So in mutual funds, you have asset managers that are registered with the Securities and Exchange Commission, which is the apex regulator. For you have some of the firm minimum is $100, some of them $1,000, and you are able to invest and begin to have your investment in dollars. You would see that within the last 3 weeks, the exchange rate have moved from about 560, 565 to almost, as of today, is about 606, 607. So if you're already in dollars, in Naira terms, you're already gaining. Your investment is accruing, is improving in Naira terms. So you may want to consider that. You may also want to consider, for those that like to take risks, medium to high-end risks, that have risk appetite, you may want to consider investing in stocks. Yes, it's good to know that return on stocks is not guaranteed. But if you carefully select stocks that have strong fundamentals, so starting from even Nigerian stocks, you can look out for stocks that have been paying consistent dividend. And you look at the dividend they pay as a proportion of the share price you'll be buying. Some, if you look at it, maybe it's about 8%, is about 10%. So even if the share price is fluctuating, but you are getting a return based on dividend on your investment, when you look at it or comparing it to investing in treasury bills of 4%, you are still better off. And it's good to have that long-term perspective when you're investing in shares. Second, if you are looking at foreign stocks, especially for most people have access to US stocks. And thanks to fractionalization, when I say fractionalization, your ability to be able to buy 0.1% of a particular company. So you want to buy 0.1% of Apple, you are able to buy it through platforms. that you can also secure that. And if you don't want to bother yourself with selecting stocks, you can even buy what we call the exchange traded fund. It's just a basket of stocks that monitor, let's say, the top stocks in the US, the financial services stocks, the tech companies. So there are always avenues on options, but investment is always unique to the individual. It's because your investment objective will differ. Some may be investing for rent, some may be investing for retirement. It varies, and your risk appetite also varies. So it's always good to understand that. And that is why, as investment professionals, most time would ask questions. How long are you leaving this money? If it's a fund that you need for your rent in the next 6 months, it cannot go into FGN savings bond that is 2 years or 3 years. These are some of those things, but because of our time, there's a limit
so now you're
how we
talking
can
about,
explain this. But
you're talking about the liquidity requirements of the prospective investor. So you talked about the risk appetite. You talked about the liquidity requirements, objective. Then the financial targets, investment objectives of the person. Because I don't want to lose some of my the people I'm trying to encourage to go into investing in the conversation. Now, a quick question, Mr. Odeji. You mentioned investing in U.S. or foreign-based stocks. You also mentioned, investing in U.S.-based mutual funds. What platforms would you recommend, without advertising for anybody? What platforms would you recommend for a young person, for example, who wants to begin to invest in foreign-based stock? And what is the minimum that they need to have? I know you talked about fractionalization. What do you recommend as a minimum, a reasonable minimum for such a person to have in hand?
Okay, thanks. And in terms of the platforms, and in terms of the platforms for mutual funds that you can access, or the companies, because it's basically you need to look at those companies to be sure that they are registered with the Securities and Exchange Commission, and also to see how long they've been in existence, as well as their performance over time. So if you permit me to be biased here, I will start with AfroInvest, where I have worked.
Where you're the CEO.
Yes, where I work. We have mutual funds, and then they've also been performing very well. You also have the likes of United Capital.
Don't forget asking specifically about foreign-based. Like if I have $5,000 and I want to begin to buy foreign shares, I can come to AfroInvest.
No, for now you can't come to AfroInvest. So I will speak. I was talking about mutual funds. I'll speak on the other platform.
You're talking about the Naira.
So on mutual funds, the Naira and dollar. So that's dollar mutual funds.
Mutual funds, we can do that with AfroInvest. It's just the stocks that we can't do with them yet.
Yes, the foreign stocks for now that you can't do with AfroInvest. Secondly, you can also look at the likes of Chapel Hill, DAM. You can look at the likes of United Capital. Then there are also platforms that are partnered with portfolio managers, the likes of Cowrywise, the AfroInvest, United Capital, Meristem. Their funds are listed there, so you can buy it through Cowrywise. So those platforms that you are able to access both the Naira mutual fund and dollar mutual fund. So now going to the foreign stocks. So I always like to group the companies into 2 or 3. So we have those that are Nigerian based, the likes of Trove, Rice, Chaka, Bamboo. Those ones also provide the opportunity for you to trade foreign stocks. Then you also have those that are the US companies that allows Nigerians to register with them. You have Passfolio. Passfolio, you have the likes of Choice Trade, you have the likes of Trade Zero. And they also have their advantages and disadvantages. Some of them don't charge commission for trades. And because US stock, the number of listed companies is about over 6,000. So most of them most of them don't have all the stocks. Like the likes of Trove, the Nigerian companies, because of that fractionalization, it is not stocks that are accessible to you. And they charge, their commission sometimes can be high compared to some of the foreign companies. But for the foreign companies, some of them you may have to pay monthly charges, is fixed. If you're an active trader, foreign companies sometimes pays because you go out without commission. So those are the types of companies that are types of platforms that you can access. And for most of them, minimum investment is also like $100. With $100, you can start. And that your $100, you can buy Apple. Apple shares trading around $160. These are not recommendations. Do your due diligence.
Yeah, absolutely.
You see Tesla. You can buy a quarter of those stocks, fraction of those stocks. So there's no excuse if you want to invest in US stocks. Those platforms are available for you to go through and invest in them.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ayodeji. So I hear you clearly. You're saying that there's some companies based in Nigeria and there are some companies that are operating from the US, allowing trading in these foreign-based stocks. You have also warned us that some of them, we should be careful of hidden costs, that some of them have charges. We need to work that into the selection. You also mentioned that in choosing the platform, we should be careful of which company has access to more number of companies that are being traded, because there are so many stocks being traded, and so you should be careful which platform or which company you go through, so that you don't you can have access to as many of these stocks as possible. Thank you very much. I'm so delighted about in what you said is that there's really no excuse. And it's one of the things I wanted to bring out with this conversation, that there's really no excuse for any young person or any old person not to be investing. And I hear you. Thank you very much for saying it at the beginning, that there's a need to diversify our portfolio. So we buy shares in Nigeria, and we also buy, abroad, so that we can have a balanced, portfolio that can protect us against devaluation or, the inflation, because the inflation in Nigeria is much higher than other places. Thank you very much, Mr. Ayodeji. I'm just struggling with how to get the most out of this conversation, this 60 minutes conversation. There's a question because I'd asked for people to give me questions ahead in addition to what I had for you. Some people are late starters. I know you've already given us examples of how people can start and everything, but I want you to encourage someone who will say, I'm already 40. I have nothing to show. I know you've already said, that as low as $100, we can start with the foreign shares. But I just want to hear you advise somebody who thinks that he's a late starter, with investing. Quickly, because I really want us to talk about Ponzi schemes, and I want to hear you talk about Bitcoins as well.
Okay, so thanks. There's that saying that says that it's better to be late than never. So if you want to start, it's always good to start now. So if you continue to feel bad that you should have started 20 years ago, 30 years ago, as long as you are still alive, you still have life, you can still start investing. And like the way we started is, investing is adding value to your savings. And maybe I would just add, before you can even have savings, it's always good that we have budgets. I will always encourage that. Know your income, know your expenses, know your position. Budget doesn't mean you should not, someone asks you for 1,000 naira, you won't give the person. It's to guide you. But you need to know your true financial position so that you can have enough savings, because without any savings, all this thing about investment we're talking about, you won't be able to partake from it. So it's important to always start from that, knowing your budget, so you know how much you want to be saving monthly. Then from that savings, how much will be going for investment.
Yeah, thank you very much, Mr. Ayodeji. Thank you so much for bringing up budgets. Because the time is limited, so we won't even go into all those money principles and skills that we would want everybody around the call to start with. I'm sure in addition to budget, you would also encourage the person to have a financial target. Where do they want to end up? I want people to put your questions in the question box, or better in the question box than in the comment section. I also know that some of the things we're saying, you may have further clarifications or questions about them. Please feel free to send a DM. I said it earlier on. This conversation is just to encourage people to, move out of their comfort zones and try and get things to the next level. We always say that financial freedom is when you have enough, you're making so much from passive income to cover your living expenses. When your passive income begins to cover your living expenses, then you're at that place where you are getting close to saying, oh, I have financial freedom. And passive income comes mainly from investments like this. Mr. Ayodeji, am I right? Mainly from investments like this.
Yes.
Because when you have money
Correct.
and you put the money to work for you, you're sitting on the sofa and your money is working in the stocks in, is it Tesla you called it? Apple, right? And all of that. So it's very important that we take the inconvenience that we need to take and get things to the next level. Thank you very much, Mr. Ayodeji. I want you to talk about Ponzi schemes. I'm encouraging people around the call to invest. I'm saying you can't just wake up every day. Some people travel up to 1 hour to get to their workplaces. They are earning so well. They are earning what we call arm robber salary, So they wake up in the morning, they earn this arm robber salary, they go back, and they're not, the money is not really generating as much as it should for them. So I'm encouraging people to invest, and that's why I got you to come talk to my friends this evening. But I also want you to issue some caution to the people around the call, especially, well, I won't say the younger ones, because it's everybody that wants, everybody that doesn't have the right understanding, and some people that don't have the right understanding want to make money so fast, and they become victims of these Ponzi schemes. I want you to talk to us quickly about Ponzi schemes and what we need to watch out for. I'm saying people invest. What are Ponzi schemes anyway? And what are the signs that my friends around the call should when they see, should run away from and say, no, this is not the kind of investment that finance coach and Mr. Ayodeji said I should go into.
Okay, thanks. And one thing we should note that in period when we have low interest rate and high inflation, the Ponzi schemers take advantage of that. Psychologically, most people will not be comfortable with 4%, with 5%, and they offer you very high and unbelievable rates. Ponzi schemes is most times we would say you are robbing Peter to pay Paul. And you would see the model that they always use is they try to get in as many people as possible. And that is why they will tell you that you should please bring 2 or 3 for you to be able to qualify. Because they are using the new funds to pay the old investors. So the best way that you can be able to determine Ponzi scheme is, one, if you understand the traditional investment, treasury bills, commercial paper, bonds, stocks, you know the kind of return they can offer. So if someone is approaching you and is asking you, come and invest, you'll be getting 3% per month, you'll be getting 7 per week, then you'll be asking, the question you should be asking is, where are you putting this money? And so if someone,
what are they doing with the money?
Yes, if someone also now tells you that, yes, we trade with the money, if you are trading, return guaranteed, it is not fixed income. So if someone is promising you a fixed return and is not investing in fixed income, then you should run. Secondly, even if it's fixed income, once the rate is significantly higher than the traditional investment, it means either the firm is taking high risk that may crystallize, or they are doing things that cannot be explained. Another way to identify Ponzi schemes is that you would see that they are not, yes, you will see that they are not registered with the Securities and Exchange Commission. So to minimize your risk, confirm that they are registered with the Securities and Exchange Commission, because before you launch products, you're expected to register those products with the Securities and Exchange Commission. I would also like to mention that when someone is trying to get you to invest, if the business model is taking you 3 or 4 minutes to understand how they make their money, you want to give me 7% per month, 10% per month, or 40% for the year. If they explain the business model, it's always very complex. And for most professionals, when you are trying to invest, always understand what you're investing. So as long as you cannot explain it, then it's better to run. But I always say this to people: if you have to do it, put what you can afford to lose. If you must invest in those schemes, put what you can afford to lose. Don't put your life savings. Don't put, most times they always start very well. They will pay you the return. You get carried away, they return your capital, then you begin to increase and attract people to it. So at the end, so that they will have enough. By the time they want to close the group, they will want to have enough money, because they know what they have in mind at the point when they are setting it up. So it's not new. We'll continue to see it. But I know, because of the desperation of the challenges going on in the country, people know that these things will shut down. But they also want to, there's that race that I know it can shut down anytime, but let me try my luck. It's like betting. Let me try my luck, and if it works out, fine. If it doesn't work out, but your hard-earned money, like Pastor B mentioned, that you spend 1 hour in the morning, 2 hours going to work, and these funds, you have to be very careful when you are investing in. You have
Absolutely.
to understand, so that it doesn't disappear. It doesn't disappear overnight, because most of these Ponzi schemes, when you look at them, it's very sure. One thing that is guaranteed is that once cash flow stops, then there will be a run, and they are unable to sustain it. We saw a lot of that even within the agri space. Once there's a major shock,
the farm, yeah.
Once there's a major shock, they are not able. Then I think lastly, you also look at the management. Who are those running it? Which was part of what affected even the agri space.
Yes.
A lot of them had not handled 1 billion before. Their plan when they set out was about 1 million, 3 million, 10 million, but they saw billions, and they could not manage it because they've not run any business. There was no risk management framework that will minimize that risk. So it's important that you understand those behind those businesses, look at their profile, what they've done before, and it will, at least what you are trying to do is to minimize the risk of not losing your money.
Thank you very much, Mr. Adedeji. I also always say to people that, I have something that just maybe it's a summary of what you have listed out. I always say, watch yourself. Don't expect microwave wealth.
Return.
The company, know the names behind the companies that are offering you these extraordinary returns. Who are those running the company? What's their track record? Are they legally structured? Are they registered with the right organizations and all of that? Quickly, people who haven't started investments to go into investing in order to grow their wealth. I want to ask a question that need to do things better. One of my mentors once said that when you want to invest, then you should look at 3 markets. He said the money market, the capital market, and the real estate market. Now, so many people, because of the devaluation of Naira and everything, they compare the rental income they're getting from real estate to in dollars, and they think that should I really be involved in real estate in Nigeria? Now, I want you to speak to people who have reasonable investment portfolios, I want you to answer the question, is it a good time? Is it a good time to go into real estate? And if I should, or if people should be going to real estate, what should they be watching out for, given the devaluation in Naira and the inflation that we are all aware about?
Okay,
Is my
thank you.
question clear?
For real estate, we classify,
Okay.
yes.
Okay,
The
thank you.
question that when should people, is it the time that people should go into, what should they be looking out for?
No, I'm saying,
So the
yes,
first thing
what
is
should
to
they
know
be?
that,
Yeah.
yeah,
Please
so the
go on.
first thing that we need to notice that real estate is for savvy investors. You require a lot of due diligence when you are going into that space. You need to understand how it works. So if you are new to the space, you may want to partner or get a professional that will guide you. What we are seeing, there's a lot of people have bought land, bought property based on pictures. And within the next 10, 20 years, development may not reach some of those areas. So because they allow you that flexible payments, you just see that nice picture. But when you get there, it's good to, the first thing is visit whatever you want to buy, whether it's a land, whether it's property, ensure that you see the place. You are comfortable with the place before you sign up to start buying. Secondly, when you are trying to go into property, it's good that you engage, say, lawyers that will help you do background check to be sure that the documents are complete. Those 1 or 2% of the value that you are spending is like insurance to protect you from losing the whole money, because you see people paying, 2 or 3 people paying for the same building.
Property.
And you see the same property. So it's good that you also understand that. Also, for those that they are developers, and you know some of them don't keep to their words. So you need to see what the track record of those developers have been before you even commit into giving them money or investing with them. And like you rightly mentioned, in terms of when you look at rental value, so let's assume you purchase the house, it's for 50 million and the rent is 2 million. It means that you would recover that money in the next 25 years if it's based on rent alone, or if you are lucky that the value of the property is increasing. So it's always good to look at the location too. So there are some areas that you know that over time it will appreciate. So once you visit the place, you ask people around, it requires time. That's what I would say. For real, it's an alternative investment. It requires time. Don't just give someone money to go and just get house, get land for you. You're just paying without visiting the place or doing your background check. So that's what I would say around investment. So in terms of the timing, there's no better time. We know that the cost of building will continue to rise because of the devaluation of the Naira. Cost of building will continue to go up. So opportunity. So if you are able to lock in a building for 40 million now, for 45 or 50 million, you can if the Naira depreciates to 700, the cost of building that same building may be around 75 million. So that's like an appreciation for you, a capital gain for you that you can sell. So I would say that it's a good time, you can go in, but be ready to do your due diligence or partner with professionals before you invest.
Excellent. Thank you so much. So physical inspection, we should be wary of we should be careful to make sure that we're investing in the right location, something that will maybe present capital appreciation with time. We should also protect ourselves legally. We should make sure we carry a lawyer along. Sometimes it's, professional advice, when we try not to use professional advice or experts, it becomes penny wise, pound foolish, because what we're trying to save, we end up losing down the road. Thank you so much. I know that I have a few friends around the call that are not based in Nigeria. They call them my friends in diaspora. Mr. Odeji, please, if I'm living abroad right now, and I'm looking back, at Nigeria and saying, what are the investment options that I should be considering? What would you advise somebody living in the UK or living in Canada or in America, for example? We said we should try and buy foreign-based stocks and all of that. What will you tell someone who is living abroad? What are the opportunities they should be looking at in Nigeria?
Okay, thanks. I think for those that are living abroad, some of the opportunities they can look at would still first start with dollars. They earn in dollars, so it means that when you look at interest rate in the US, maybe 1-2% or even less. So if you are able to invest that same amount here in Nigeria and earn 7-8%, there are some even for Eurobond, for those that have the capacity. Eurobonds, $50,000, $100,000, some can give you a return of close to 10%. Or you do fixed deposit in dollars, be as high as some dollar products, even for us that we have $100,000 can be as high as 7% for a year. So you would see that you are adding more value than investing at 0.5% abroad. Secondly, okay, because they have that capital that they can also invest in real estate, they can begin to look out for properties in choice areas that has the potential to appreciate, that within the next 2-3 years will give you 50%, because that will add value to their money. But they need to go through professionals. They are not in Nigeria.
They're not based here.
Someone has bought the house. So you may want to spend 5 or 6% to reputable companies. And most times what I've discovered is that those companies, even the charges that you tend to pay are not even very significant. But from afar, when you hear the likes of Jide, Taiwo and co, you run that, these are structured companies, they may charge me a lot. But because they have been in town for long, if you are trying to get something through them, you can rest assured that they want to protect their names. So it's good to also be careful. Don't just give to one person that you feel because you are just, you've been friends for long and person promised you. It's good. You need to be careful. Then Nigerian stocks are also not a bad investment, especially those that give you dividend yield of over 10%, because we are talking about return. Yes, even if the naira is depreciating, this year maybe the total depreciation we have seen is still less than 10%. So if you are earning any return that is higher than the depreciation level, it means that your investment is not worth it. And there are some that even have potential for what we call capital appreciation, which is increase in share price. You look at the telecom sector, for instance. All of us on this session, we are actually using data. You would see that there's still potential. Yes, the likes of MTN, Airtel Africa. Airtel Africa listed at 300 naira, and it's over 1,000 naira now, less than 3 years. Wow. And there's still potential for growth. Also, you see MTN, those that are in the public offer in December, I know they are all smiling now. Each time they check their app, they check the value of the stock, they're interested in that. It was at 1.
You can see my smile because some people around the call benefited.
Yes. Yeah. So, and there's still potential. So you can also look at those companies that have strong fundamentals. Even the top banks, if you look at them in the last 5-10 years, they've been delivering in terms of dividend return. Capital appreciation may not be very interesting, but once you look at it, that's your cost, and you see that you are getting a dividend that compensates above 10% yield. So those are different options that they also want to consider. And projects, you can partner with investment advisory outfit. They have projects that will return 50%. They would have done the due diligence. They also make the arrangement of trustee to keep the capital. There are all sorts of opportunities for a diaspora.
Thank you so much, Mr. Ayodeji. I'm going to take some of the tutorials that you're giving us. We're going to be posting them on my page after this, just so that some people can have deeper understanding, because we're a bit fast and we don't have so much time. Now, I wanted to ask you a question about Bitcoins, but I do have some questions and it would be unfair not to answer them. Didi, Alex, Otobo, what are the names of Nigerian organizations that allow you buy US stocks? I would reply you directly on that. Is it possible for a genuine business to graduate into a Ponzi or have a Ponzi element? I think I can, because I want us to talk about, okay, so Nandi Noah, what is cryptocurrency and is it good investment for the economy right now? Mr. Adeji, we have just 5 minutes left. Can you please talk to us about cryptocurrency? Give us warnings you want to give us about it, and then tell us the position of I think there's a change in the position of central bank in the past week. Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
Please go ahead.
Cryptocurrency is also a form of investment, and it also has potential, but we also need to understand that it's highly volatile. So when you are investing, if you are new to cryptocurrency, it's good to start small to understand how it works. And that is how any investment always starts small. For cryptocurrency, currently is low, but we know that it's here to stay. A lot of the main investment banks in the US are already having portfolios investing in cryptocurrency. So you can look at those that have good use case. When we say good use, they are doing something. So a lot of developers are using their platform, so they are earning fees for those using those platforms. Once you look at those that have that good use case, then you can minimize your risk. But it's also good to diversify. Don't just buy 1-2 coin. We all saw what happened for those that used to crypto Luna in the last 1 week. I also invested in Luna. So you notice that it moved from almost $90 to $0.01. So you can see that it's almost zero. So those are the kind of risks that sometimes you see in cryptocurrency. But overall, what I would advise is when you are also investing, invest and you just average gradually. So when you see days that you see maybe Bitcoin coming to 25K, 28,000, you can invest. And if it still comes down, you are able to average down to a level. Don't use all your money. Always have cash. And when you see, and don't be also greedy, when you see that it has appreciated significantly, it moved from almost 30 I think like 2 months ago to almost 48. Take profits. That's how, so you don't just sleep on crypto and continue to see that you want to have 10,000%, 1,000%. So that would also be, but please note that it's a very risky investment. The Securities and Exchange Commission have come up with rules around it. So it means it's going to be allowable investment in Nigeria. The CBN is yet to announce through a circular whether people can start investing, whether banks can allow investors to be investing directly or transferring to crypto accounts in Nigeria. But by and large, it's also a good form of investment that for those that have high risk, is high risk investment because you can lose all when you're investing in crypto.
That's not where to put your retirement benefits. Mr. Odeji, that's not where to put your retirement benefits.
At the point when you are retiring, you should be after capital preservation, just fixed income, basically.
You should not be cryptoing. Thank you so much, Mr. Odeji. I can't thank you enough. I said at the beginning that I also am going to learn something this evening. There's one thing that I've learned, and that is that crypto has come to stay. Some people challenge me and say, you say you're a finance coach and you don't know anything about crypto, because I say to people, all I know is the spelling of crypto. But I hear you loud and clear this evening, Mr. Odeji, that it has come to stay. So I have to get out of my comfort zone to try and understand crypto better, and then put a little bit, not too much, a little bit of my retirement benefits in crypto. Thank you so much, Mr. Odeji.
Thanks for the opportunity to be here.
Subscribe. Yeah, thank you, Pastor. To subscribe to his YouTube, Get Finance and Investment Tips. On a weekly basis, he does a podcast, and there's just so much to learn. I remember listening to him when the CBN was introducing the e-Naira, and it just gave me all the, simplified everything and clarified it for me. So please follow his page, follow my page as well. I teach on a daily basis on how you can get financial freedom, how you can be financially fit. And some of the things that Mr. Ayodeji has explained and taught us this evening, we try to teach and explain them on a granular level on a daily basis. I have noted the questions. Thank you so much for joining us. Nandi Noah, Joseph Ifeanyi, I can't pronounce what your handle is. Didi Alex Otobo. I have the questions to get answers from Mr. Ayodeji and sent to you. I want to encourage everybody around the call. We heard Mr. Ayodeji. Nobody is too young, nobody is too old to invest, and nobody is too poor, nobody is too rich to invest. I deliberately, try to stagger the questions between new investors, and those that already invested. There's so much about investments. But if there's something that I want us to take away from this call this evening, I heard Mr. Ayodeji say severally, get expert advice, get legal advice. If you want to buy a property, get legal advice. So don't try to do things by yourself. That's something that I have learned. Better off at the end. Please, if you haven't started your investment journey, send a DM to Mr. Ayodeji on his handle or to me, and we'll be very happy to handhold you and help you through building your own investment portfolio. I don't know what Instagram is going to do. We have 4 minutes. I want to thank everybody that's around the call. I don't know, I can't see names. Okay, now I can see. Thank you, everybody. Thank you for joining. If you have more questions, please send to us. Thank you to my friends that joined us from, I always say my friends around the world. Thank you so much. Mr. Ayodeji, did you have a final word for my friends around the call tonight?
Okay, thanks. And I believe that we should just always find time to monitor our investments. Don't just invest. We have been speaking about investing. Always ask questions. Always monitor the performance. As you are saving for your retirement, 20 years, 30 years time, every year, try to reassess. If you have to change your investment manager, if you have to change your portfolio manager, if you have to move your funds, if you have to change the stock that you're invested in, so you have to restructure. So it's good to always find time to monitor your investment so that you continue to add value as much as you can.
Thank you so much, Mr. Ayodeji. I have been blessed meeting you. I think is it about a year now that we met? We e-met, right? We electronic. We met virtually,
yes.
But we connect like almost on a daily basis, but we haven't met physically. But I see all the work you're doing, and I'm so grateful to God that you have made yourself available in spite of your position in your establishment. Some big men, we can't see them. We have to see like 10 people before we talk to them. So my friends around the call, praise on sex. I'm happy to see you. I'm going to answer your question. I do hope that Dorcas was able to grab everything for me. Thank you, everybody that joined me. Eunice, I'm just seeing your comment. Okay, Eunice said, thank you for the... someone just introduced me to arbitrage trading. Okay, we'll talk about arbitrage trading later, Eunice. You can always DM and I will connect you to Mr. Ayodeji. I do hope that Dorcas got all these comments because I'm just seeing them so that we can deal with them later. We will bring Mr. Ayodeji back. Trust me, he's my friend and he's my brother in the Lord. So I'm able to get a big man to come and talk to my friends around the call for free. Eshe Goni, let me speak in Yoruba. Thank you, everybody. Those that joined in from the United Kingdom, from Canada, and those that joined from, did anybody join from America? Brother Lamadosi, I saw you, I see you, I will see you. Thank you very much, everybody. God bless you. We have just 1 more minute to go. Mr. Ayodeji, I'm grateful. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much, man.
Bye. Thank you, Rhoda. I don't know if we're still on. Thank you, everybody.